Am I?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Hi. I'm Amanda, and I'm in Battleground Games and Hobbies, Abington location in the loft. I'm going to be doing some painting. I paint alternating Fridays and Saturdays during the summer, so I did paint all summer. I painted on Saturdays all summer. My work schedule is such that I don't work on Saturdays in the summer, but in the school year, so like September through June, I work alternating Fridays and Saturdays just because of what my contract is like at work. And during the summer, I don't work Saturdays. But that means I work every Friday. So once September hits, I alternate Fridays and Saturdays, which means the Saturdays and Fridays that I'm off, I'm usually here. And when I'm here, why not paint? And if I'm painting, why not stream? So I've been working on a couple of things. I finished one of them last week, and I'm really relieved that I finished it. I was doing Starship Samurai for my buddy John, and I had a little mishap with some varnish. It was really, really hot last week. It was very hot, and it was very, very humid, and I wasn't really thinking about that. I wasn't thinking about how much hotter the back hallway was than the main store. And I very foolishly took all of my very carefully finished Starship Samurai figures, and I took them out to the back hall and used the same spray varnish I have used dozens of times before. And I thought, wow, I don't want to stink up the store by bringing these newly varnished figures that smell like varnish into the store. I'll leave them in the back hall to dry a bit before I bring them back into the store. And then I went to get them, and they had been sitting in a hot and humid back hall for half an hour. And they looked frosted. The varnish had sort of beaded up and dried, semi-opaque. So that was great. That was super. So some of them suffered more than others. This one here, all of these here were completely just frosted over. They looked gray. Bits of his shoulders were sort of frosted over. This whole skirt business he's got going on got a fair brunt of it. It was kind of weird. This guy was fine. Absolutely fine. And I know I sprayed him. Like, I can tell looking at him, and I can feel it. It's got a texture to it on the base. Though the base doesn't look bad. I can feel that the varnish didn't go on smoothly. But like, this guy would have been fine, except the blade of his weapon up here, the sort of brunt of his weapon, was totally frosted over, which was really frustrating because it took me a long time to get all of that looking the way I wanted it to look. I actually just noticed something that I missed fixing, so I'm going to fix that. He's varnished, so I ended up using a brush-on varnish instead. So I just noticed something. I forgot to put the copper back on these little dots because I had to go back over them. So we'll do some touch-ups on him. They are varnished, but because it was a brush-on varnish, I can always brush over it again. This guy, all the black pieces were just a mess. You can sort of see a little bit of it here I didn't quite fix. Hard to sort of see on camera, but it was bad. It was really demoralizing because I spent a long time on these guys. The wings, this guy's wings you can sort of see a little bit of it on here. It's not as solid as it should be, but it's mostly okay. I had to completely redo. And what was the most frustrating, I think, about this happening is that, like, this guy, their armor is not an out-of-the-bottle color. Like this dude, that's coppery orange. It's straight out of the bottle. That's exactly the color I needed, and it's exactly the color I used. This was sort of a midnight blue semi-metallic that I mixed for this specifically. It was made just for this purpose. And all these little blue dots are on the card for the character. Everything on this character was was made custom. The blue on the vest, the sort of pale blue metallic interior of his cloak, that was all custom mixed for that character. This guy, all the purples, all that like violet metallic armor, that I mixed for this purpose. And like, I mixed it, but I didn't save it. I mixed it, and then I used it. You know, I wasn't mixing a massive amount of it. I was mixing enough for the figure. Goes in here was fine. Her figure is mostly white anyway. The red didn't seem to take much of a hit, so that was good. If I had messed up that skirt, I would have been in tears, because that was bad. That skirt was several different attempts at that skirt, because it's got all that line work, all those waves. I didn't have the right color pen. I went and bought a pen that I thought was going to be the right color, and it wasn't watertight. I hear my voice coming out of the speaker downstairs. Apology accepted. So yeah, the pen wasn't, the pen bled. As I did that, it looked good as I started. Got to the end of the skirt, looked back at the beginning, and it had started to spread. And I was like, oh, that doesn't bode well. Better seal that. No. So I had to wash that off very quickly once I realized, oh, hey, this isn't permanent ink. It's water soluble. Washed that off. It left the skirt pink, which bled through every coat of white I did until I sealed the pink, repainted white over the sealant, and then gave up trying to find a pen the right color and said, well, screw it. I guess I'm using a brush for this. It's just so fine. It's such fine work. So, I'm done with those, aside from touch-ups on Shingen here. Once they're all painted, we're going to play this. So we play board games on stream every Friday night at 7:30 Eastern, Eastern US, and we have a very good time with it. And we've played a bunch of games. We have not played Starship Samurai yet, because our buddy John bought it, and then I saw the figures and went, can I paint those? And he said, sure, if you really want to. And I did. So I did. And now they're done, which means we can safely play this with everything done. There's an expansion coming out at some point that has 2 more samurai, and I'm really looking forward to those. One's got like a deep forest metallic green and like off-white and brown sort of color scheme going on. I forget what the other one is. Let me find out. Shattered Alliances is what the expansion is called. Let's see if I can get a good quality picture of it so I can really... Ooh, there are the cards. Okay. So one is... Oh, it's like electric blue. So this is what this is going to look like. Camera field trip. Oh, right. My camera's upside down. So this is what the expansion is going to look like. So we've got Ishida here, and that's I don't know if you can really, how well it's coming across on the camera, but the armor is actually a really deep green with an electric blue, and it looks like black and gold up here. So that's going to be really interesting. That's going to be fun to paint. I'm curious to see whether these little blue lights on the shoulder here are going to be raised or pitted, because there's examples of each. Tamatomo here, this guy here, all of those little like green bits on his armor, all those little like vertical green lines on there, those are all pits. They're all like wells. On the other hand, Shingen here, all those little white lines on there, those are all raised. So I'm curious to see what that's going to end up being. I would prefer raised when it comes to bright colors because it makes it a little easier. And the other one here is Hanzo, because of course there has to be a Hanzo. And that is silver and gold and black. So that's, and he looks massive. Look at these legs. Oh, he's thick. Look at these. He's got thighs for days. This looks like it also has like a sweeping sort of skirt to it, which is really, I'm curious to see how that's going to end up translating to the figure. We'll see, because it could be more like goes in here. I forgot this guy's name, but it could be more like his. I'm really proud. Really pleased with how his came out. He has this very subtle black line work, but that I had a black pen I could use. Just when you're trying to do that sort of curved and long lines, it's a little bit easier when you're doing it fine. Anyhow, that's Starship Samurai. I gotta do a little bit of touch up on one guy, and otherwise we're gonna finish painting Doctor Who. So this is the Fourth Doctor. His eyes are a little not great. I might redo those. I'm not satisfied with that. But the scarf I'm thrilled with. I'm really happy with how that scarf came out. That came out 100% the way I wanted it to. I need to do a little touch up here. I got a little bit of beige on top of his pocket there. I want to do a wash on his coat. But otherwise, he is very much done. I'm basically looking at a wash and finished on him. A wash in his eye. Touch that up. Get his eye situation figured out. We already did the First Doctor, Hartnell. I'm also not happy with his eyes, but that unfortunately is sort of the way he's sculpted. His eyes are very low in his face. He's got this very sharply sculpted ocular cavity over here. There's not really much I can do with that, so I think he's just how he is. Really pleased with how Peter Capaldi here came out, our 12th Doctor. He came out 100% the way I wanted him to, which was a little iffy because he's dressed all in black. I mean, I guess it's better than Colin Baker's coat, but what you gonna do? The scarf was a challenge, but Capaldi being all in black honestly was more of a challenge than Baker having that scarf. And the plaid. The plaid wasn't actually, it didn't end up being that hard. Capaldi being all in black meant that I needed to find 3 different ways to show black. So I did a dark gray, and then with a black wash, I did just plain old black with silver buttons. And then for the coat, I did black with highlighting in midnight blue because his coat is velvet. The First Doctor's eyes they're not that bad. They're certainly not as bad as the Fourth Doctor's eyes right now, which are uneven. They look like this and like that. He looks like he's looking in two different directions. It's more, he's got a very, what's the guy's name? Igor. What is his name? Marty Feldman? Is that right? Is that right? He looks like that. He's got the bug eyes. Janine, sorry about the bug eyes thing. All right, so we're down to, because this game, so this is from Doctor Who Time of the Daleks, and Time of the Daleks comes with 4 doctors, K9, and a bunch of these jerks, because it's Time of the Daleks. So all of these Dalek figures, they're done in this sort of gold metallic. I'm kind of loath to play around with them too much. I don't want to mess with them. They look classy. Classy plastic. So yeah, I'm a little, I don't really want to mess with them too much. But on the other hand, I've got Davros. And him, I don't want to necessarily leave all gold. I have noticed that much as I do like a lot of these figures, and I do think they were very well done, they're like the perfect balance between sculpted in detail and too much detail. Because some figures, there's so much detail. Like some of these, there was a point when I was looking at it when I was like, oh my god, there's a little, like this in here was a giant pain to deal with because it's sculpted in, but not in a way that you can really effectively paint in the way that the card says it should look. So it's a case of the sculpting in of the detail, making it that much harder to emulate the artwork. Same with this guy. He turned out okay, but like all of these little pits and stuff in here, it was really hard to do. It was really hard to do. And it would have almost been easier if they hadn't been sculpted in and if I could have just painted it on. Instead of working with a sculpted detail that very much dictated the size of the brush I was going to be using and how much cleanup I was going to have to do later. These figures have been the perfect balance between that. They have some sculpted in detail with sort of lines being put in. Like his pants, the lines were actually sculpted in. That grid on his pants, that's sculpted. And when I looked up his pants, I was like, yeah, sure, they are, that's what they look like. But they're actually like almost more of a plaid. And they didn't try to do all the lines. They didn't try to sculpt in all of the plaid. Thank goodness. Same for Matt Smith's coat. His coat has a fine sort of grid work on it. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do that, but we're sure going to try. What I have found is that Matt Smith is harder to find photos, like full body photos of him in full costume. I can find photos, but finding full body photos of him in costume at a high resolution has been a lot harder than any of the other doctors. Even Baker, I was able to find some really good high-res pictures. I found one, but it's not full body. It does give me a really good picture of the plaid. It's not plaid. I'm like missing a word here. I know there's a word for what this type of fabric is, but it's got stripes and hatches on it, and they didn't try to sculpt that in. And it's very subtle. It's like a brown on brown sort of thing. It's like brown on tan on a sort of reddish color. He had a very reddish color scheme, which is really cool. And he's actually got a like check shirt. His shirt has a very fine pattern to it. It's like a beige, it's like an off-white with I think like a black and a brown cross stripe on it. And a red, like burgundy bow tie. But then he's wearing a pair of, as far as I can tell, black pants. I don't know, I wasn't paying attention to his pants. Everyone else's pants are super loud. He's got blue plaid pants. Fifth Doctor has stripy pants because he's wearing a cricket uniform. He's got his loud pants. Everyone's got loud pants in the classic Doctor Who. And then they seem to have backed off the loud pants in the newer ones. There are expansions coming out for these, so we'll get to see those eventually. The other thing I'm going to do, and I wasn't initially planning on this, but then I realized that this is actually sculpted in. So the way this game works, you each play one of the 4 Doctors included in the game. And as expansions come out, you'll have more options. But there's a regeneration mechanic where you swap Doctors, but you're still the blue player or the red player or the green player or the yellow player. So you get these bases that you can sit your figure in, and you get a matching one to put your TARDIS in so that you can keep track of which TARDIS is yours and where it is, so that, like, if you're the one that we've designated is going to be trying to hit the end of that, like, time loop, then you know that was yours that's on that space, and mine is, like, over here on Earth, like, 1950 or something. But otherwise the TARDISes are all identical. And I was like, they're just like the blue police boxes. They actually have their little door, their little phone panel. It's sculpted in. So I think I might try to do a little bit of detail work on these. I'm going to keep them identical, but I'm going to try and do a tiny bit of detail work and see what I can manage to do. We'll see. I haven't primed them. They're not, like, we'll see. The Daleks, I'm still torn on. I do feel like maybe I'll do some brush-on primer for Davros. Maybe only on the top. I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that. They also have their Dalek ship that moves around the board. It's basically you're racing against it getting to Earth. If it gets there, they destroy the timeline. Tough for everyone. So, yeah, it does feel a little weird to have everyone else painted and not do the Daleks, so, you know. So, okay. I do have the chat and stuff up if someone wants to say hi, but I also am trying to, like, I have reference photos up. So I'm trying to... No, I didn't actually want that. Open image. There we go. I just want a good picture of him with the coat on, up close so I can see the pattern in the coat. And then I want a picture that shows his legs. You wouldn't think that would be a really hard thing to find. You would think there would be... And every other one, there's like a really easy, yes, this is what he looks like sort of deal. That's not... No. That's not right. Sure, Andy. Thanks for the bit. You're still not beating Insidious Pie from Monday. Sorry. You're not even beating me. Because I did 3 bits last week. Anyhow, I do have reference photos up. Yeah, his look did stay pretty consistent. Ooh, he's got a vest on in that one. And a, like, plaid bow tie. Yeah, I don't think I can do a plaid bow tie. I don't think that's going to happen. He's a lanky man, I will say that. He's wearing a blue shirt in that one. So it looks like he did trade out, like, shirt and tie and stuff over time. But it definitely looks like he's wearing dark pants. Why is everything just from the waist up? It's not even the waist, it's like from the midriff up. Annoying. How hard is it to, like, give me what I want? He's not wearing his fez. You can get a fez in the game, though. And then he's totally wearing a fez. So there he is, and he's wearing just a plain gray shirt. The weird part is, all of these poses are like their iconic sort of promo photo poses or something. And I could have sworn that I had seen, like, that this pose was... Yeah, that's sort of it. But he's not wearing... He's wearing an overcoat and that. Yeah, I think he's wearing black pants. Looks like black pants there. So yeah, we're just gonna run with that. We're gonna make that assumption. We'll run with it. Right, I just saw something I don't wanna... No. I saw a mass-produced 11th Doctor Halloween costume for ladies. You can imagine how bad that is. Let's see. Ladies want to dress up like Matt Smith as the Doctor. Totally chill with that. It's like the mass-produced, this is how ladies' costumes look sort of deal that I'm not feeling. Yeah, it does. It looks like black pants. Unfortunately, you can't really see. He frequently has suspenders on, and I don't see them. Like, they're definitely not sculpted in. I probably could just paint them in. This is a nice big photo from like a production still. Let's open that up and see how it looks. Yeah, okay, those are black. And we're just gonna run with this being our image reference, I think. It's a full body pose. It's a nice narrow picture, so I can move it over here. He's definitely wearing black pants. I can see the like bracers coming down to here. He's got the coat. He's got the red. Yeah, this all looks in order. Cool. Let's fix up Shingen first so that he can dry, and then I can, we're also going to do K9 today. Right. Sorry, I've been sort of maundering on, not actually painting. Let's actually paint. I think I'll need a dry brush for him, but so I was saying last week how frustrated I am with wooden handled brushes. I'm still frustrated with them. I still don't like them. I find them very irritating because no matter how hard I try, I can't seem to keep, the handles from soaking up some water from like inside the brush tip. And that means that eventually, no matter how careful I am, I'm gonna start getting like, is that the newer one? Yeah, it's the new one. No matter how careful I am, it's gonna start soaking. The wood's gonna start swelling and then shrinking again, and it's eventually gonna need to be re-glued, as evidenced by the fact that this has started to get a little bit of give to it. Just enough to be annoying. So I'm gonna get some glue. Fix that. Oh, actually, there might be glue in this box. So I also brought today my my talisman figures that I've been working on, because I wasn't sure how close I was gonna get to finishing these guys today. Oh, there is some glue. Yeah, it's like dried, so we're not gonna worry too much about that. I'll get myself some glue later. We'll fix it. Alright, let's fix Shingen first, because he'll be easy. All I need is a tiny bit of copper. Oh. Paper towels are important for this endeavor. We're basically just trying to get The thing is, I love the shape and size of this brush. Just really hate the handle. Okay, cool, he's done. I'm really annoyed with his eyes. Black. I think I'm gonna just try and make the pupils bigger and fix it that way. See if that works. I don't need much. Well, not right now. I need more for Matt Smith's pants. better? It's not awesome. His eyes feel so low. I'm not thrilled with them. It's just where they're sculpted in. Alright, they're gonna sit over here for now. Oh, actually, I wanted to fix his coat. Let's fix his coat. That was a bloop. That wasn't the right color. Oops. Nope. Oh well. That's mahogany, not chestnut. Those aren't the same color. One is much lighter than the other. Hey, someone followed. Dano5157. Thanks for following. I need to do a little bit of fixing under there. Otherwise, I think he's actually in very good shape. Midnight glue to fix this. Largely because it's a nice dark blue, and I already painted and like washed his pants. His pants have a very subtle plaid going on with them, and I really don't want to go in with a lighter color and have to like do touch-ups that way. There we go. Alright, he is, I think, as done as he's going to get. So it's time for Matt Smith. Thinking about how I want to do. He's a pale man. He is a very pale. I don't know, I've never really thought about how pale Matt Smith is. He is real pasty. It's like me. Alright. I guess we're going with fair skin. I'm trying to decide how I want to do his pants. They're black, but they're like a soft black. I may do a very, very, very dark gray. I'm deliberately not worrying too much about like his like shirt color or anything like that. He does have a very long neck, but he also has floppy hair, so we'll clean that up eventually anyway. Better, it's not like the fair skin color is going to be really hard to paint over. Look, it's practically Matt Smith already. These are actually very good facial sculpts. They look good. I'm gonna have to look up what his sonic screwdriver looks like. Make sure I get the D. He's the only one holding something other than like a piece of costume. We're gonna do off-white for his shirt because I am going to try and do a very subtle like red check to it. It's definitely not the same color as his skin, which is good because that's always creepy. Wow, I smudged white paint everywhere, didn't I? I'm actually going to go over the go. We're going to do a tan. Actually, no. The color of his shirt is really, really bugging me. It's not like a putty. It's annoying. So annoying. It would be nice to get a nice clear picture of it. No. Yeah, okay. We're going to go with this for the base color for his coat. So we could go a little bit lighter. But it's not even that, it's not lighter in a yellow way, it's lighter in a... Maybe if I mixed these two, it's like a fawn, which I really don't have in this box. Maybe this shirt would be better in this way with the pink. We're gonna have to do some experiments. Let's see if this gives me the color I want. It won't. Oh, actually, it totally did. Yeah, sort of a fawn. Because I'm going to want to do like some texturing and stuff with a darker tan. So I want the base color to be a little bit lighter so that I can bring it down with the darker color. I'm gonna have to experiment with some colors for the shirt. I'm not happy with the off-white because it's not right. There's just something that's not quite there for it. So, like I said, I'm not trying to get this coat exactly the right color right this second. I'm trying to get it a good base color for what it will eventually be. Hey DG Dell, how's it going? Sorry, I was so focused on his shirt. Going alright? Glad to hear it. I gotta let this guy dry for a little bit because otherwise I'm just gonna be painting off stuff that I already painted on. So we're gonna bring up K9. Going out for game night in a few hours. Excellent. Let's see. Let's look up. Does he have his little collar on? Can't really tell. He should. He's got like a stripy collar. It's a very flat metallic. Thank you very much. It is blue with like silver, it's like a translucent blue with silver glitter in it. And I love it. It's called Tibetan Nights. I do my nails a different color every week. And this week I felt like I needed blue sparkly nails. It just felt right. You want card sleeves? Oh, those would be so good. Card sleeves with like silver, blue and silver glitter. This would be gorgeous. I want card sleeves in that color too. So the thing about metallics is a pure metallic is always going to be a metallic. But Canine isn't really a like shiny metallic. He's a flatter sort of look to him. He's like that industrial metallic that you get in like the 60s and 70s. Yeah, I mean, same. So what we want is for there to be a metallicness to it without it being super shiny. So what I've done here is I've mixed a silver metallic with a mid-gray. So you get a little bit of that metallic sheen without it being sort of this immediate, wow, that's super shiny look. Alright, Canine, you're looking a little bit shinier, which is what I wanted, without being overly shiny. I'll let him sit for a second. This is a Game of Thrones song it's playing at me, but at least it's not When Winter Comes at the end. It's Mother of Flame. I'm okay with this one. This is midnight blue that I'm putting on his pants. I want to see how it looks. I'm not thrilled with it. I'll probably go over it with a dark gray. It's a little too blue. Yeah, that's okay. I don't know what color his socks are. What color are the 12th Doctor's socks? I don't know. he's coming together. Yeah, so we better for his pants. Especially since I'm gonna do a wash over them. Yeah, bow ties are cool. They're annoying to paint. But see, the fact that I don't know what color his socks are, this is why I want to have the like a full body high res promo shot. I gotta look it up.
Not helpful. Yeah, it's like he's wearing black socks and boots. Buddy, why so boring?
Boop, boop. Yeah. I mean, it looks like they're black socks. We'll just run with that. See, I knew his sonic screwdriver looked a little funky. It has like copper and silver. So I don't want to just be like, silver! Bleh. I want to incorporate the fact that it does have some copper striping up the sides of it, and it's green at the tip. We're gonna do gray for his pants to start with. I'm gonna do a wash on them. I'm gonna do some Nuln Oil over them eventually. And then it won't matter that they're gray because they'll look black. Because if you don't dilute the Nuln Oil, it just brings everything way down. Which is really useful, like when I was doing the goblins from the Labyrinth game. The goblins in the Labyrinth game were very cool. But they were meant to be all like dirty and covered in like soot. K9 looks, the metallic on K9 looks 100% the way I wanted it to. So that's cool. Probably only going to do a little bit more and then end the stream. I don't know. I was feeling super up to streaming earlier, and I'm feeling sort of out of it, which is making it hard to focus on stuff. Okay. This is annoying. So I don't want to make it too opaque. I think I'm going to do like another 10 to 15 minutes, and then I'm probably going to call it a day. I'm feeling wiped, and I have a really long day ahead of me tomorrow. I'm doing this big thing in Quincy. And it's going to be... It's either going to mean that the library is a zoo, or it's going to be dead. But my guess is zoo. That's my bet. So... I think he's got a patch on. Oh my god, how pretentious. Hey, Travis. How's it going? We're going to be playing Descent tonight. Really? We would love to see you. We miss you. I'm not loving how this is coming out. Why would you just? I mean, you wouldn't, right? Oh, it'd be so good to have you here. I'm not loving this. It just looks dirty. What do you guys think? I'm not thrilled. I'm not thrilled at all. I think, yeah, harassing me works fine. You actually have good timing because I'm probably going to finish up. I'm feeling sort of out of it and I want to be with it for the stream tonight. So, yeah, I'm feeling a little logy. And tomorrow's going to be absolutely wild at work, so I think I may call it a day as soon as Andy can come up and turn things off. Andy was sick this week, and I was really hoping I might escape it, but I don't think I am. Which is great. Tomorrow I have a program at 10 in the morning, and they're dedicating the new Adams and Hancock Green. I think that's what they're calling it now. It was originally just going to be the Adams Green, but I'm pretty sure they added Hancock in there because it used to be Hancock Street. In Quincy, in the area between City Hall and the Church of the Presidents, that was, like, Hancock Street was a street that ran the entire length of Quincy, basically. And you could go from one end to the other of the city on that street. Now, when you hit Quincy Center, you're diverted onto Washington Street around the Church of the Presidents. You make it's like Hancock Street. Now it's around Church, back onto Hancock. It's horrible. It's horrible. And the lights are all stupid as hell. They have these horrible intersections where I guess they're like the current national standard in terms of efficiency of moving traffic, but I think they're horrifically dangerous, where you don't get walk lights, like walk signals that turn everything red. Instead, when the traffic going parallel to the to the crosswalk has a green light, you have a walk signal. But there's nothing like to tell the people turning right not to turn right. Like, there are people in oncoming traffic who are trying to make a left turn across there, and they have an arrow, and that green arrow says you can turn, but then state law, and I assume law in most places, says that the crosswalk has the right of way, that, like, pedestrians have the right of way, and if there's a walk signal, you shouldn't be turning. That's a no turn. But there's no delay on the green light, and there's nothing to tell, like, the people that are turning in the turn lanes not to turn while the walk signal is going, and the walk signal takes almost more than half of the green light cycle. So the people who are making that left turn, they're trying to make that left turn and get across, and, you know, they're impatient. And the people turning right are sort of sitting there waiting for the people in the crosswalk to finish crossing, and then they've got people beeping behind them because they're not crossing, they're not going because the people behind them can't see that there are people in the... It's horrible. It's horrifically unsafe. I'm honestly shocked that no one's been hit. And they have this other walk signal thing going on at non-intersections. They're just like walk lights over these sort of crosswalk wide speed bumpy things. They're like raised crosswalks. So you have to go up over them. And those crosswalks, like around the church basically, now have these really bizarre lights where they're off until someone needs a walk signal, and then they'll be like flashing yellow, and then flashing red, and then solid red, but each type of light has its own like meaning, and so they have these giant signs to explain what each type of flashing light means, but there's no way to parse a sign that big with that many different things to explain to you what this signal means in the time between when you're approaching it, see it, and have to stop. They're horrible. I'm shocked we haven't had people hit in Quincy Center. I think it's because everyone's so aware of how weird and confusing it is now that everyone's like being weirdly cautious, but recently I've had a few people rush lights and cut me off and zip through in front of pedestrians, and people are going to get hit. People are going to get hit. It's horrible. So yeah, now that chunk of Hancock Street, basically between like, you know, the big Stop and Shop building and where like Washington always, like merged onto it over near the T station. That section of Hancock just doesn't exist as a street anymore. Just, it isn't a street. It's now a park. So now, yeah, Hancock goes, Hancock, stop. Detour around the church, because the church is directly across from City Hall, so that all of that section of Hancock that was in between City Hall and the Church of the Presidents is a park now. And they're doing, yeah, it was always horrible, and now it's worse. They made it worse, which is amazing. It's unfathomable that they managed to make the horror show that is the Quincy Center traffic situation worse, but they managed it. And they've been working on this park, so 2 years ago, the city had asked if the library would do some story times in the park that they were building in between City Hall and the Church of the Presidents, and we were like, yeah, sure. We're going to reserve the meeting room in our library just in case you're not done. And they were not done, but they are done now, apparently. One hopes they're done because the dedication is at 10:30 tomorrow morning. So at 10:30 tomorrow morning, they're doing a dedication ceremony. They're going to have the governor. They're going to have David McCullough, who's a Pulitzer-winning author, writes a lot of history books about this area. It's an amazing achievement. They made a flat-out horrible thing more horrible. Cheers. But it'll be nice to have a park. And apparently it's done now. They've been posting a few pictures. They've got plants. They've got grass. I mean, it is sort of nice that if you go over to City Hall and they tell you, start at the Church of the Presidents, go take the historical tour, you're not crossing a horrible street like Hancock. But at the same time, to then get anywhere else in Quincy, you then have to deal with the nightmare that is the crosswalks and intersections that have now sprung up there. It's now like 2 lanes going by the church in both ways, and everything's narrower, and there's the bike lanes that they've added in, which are great until they don't exist anymore. So they just sort of stop in the middle of the road leading up to an intersection, because then they have like a turn lane and they don't have enough room for a bike lane and parking. And parking is already an issue. And they've lost parking because they blocked off that section of Hancock. Anyhow, we got a Montilios over in on Adams Street. We don't need to go to West Quincy for that. Just don't go through Quincy Center. Just avoid Quincy Center at all costs. Take Newport, go down onto 3A. Just don't go into Quincy Center. Cross from one vertical, one horizontal side of Quincy to the other. Don't go through here. Just go around or around. It's horrible. But anyway, they're doing the dedication tomorrow. They've got big name guests. It's going to be a big deal. They're bringing in all sorts of folks, and it's going to be a big to-do tomorrow in Quincy Center. And I am working. So that's sure going to be a thing. I'm going to be working all day tomorrow. And I have a program in the morning, and I'm going to have to deal with that. Oh yeah, that's in there. That must go there. Yeah, I have a program at 10. So Adams Street at that end is actually closer to Wollaston. And when you're talking West Quincy, you're more talking the other side. Adams Street runs along a weird parallel, because Adams Street is going up towards Milton. Quincy is shaped odd. I don't think of that as West Quincy because you haven't passed through Quincy Center, basically. Look at a map of Quincy. Yeah. I mean, I guess sort of. It's a weird sort of area.
So you...
I'm gonna finish up. Yeah.
Okay.
I can see why. Okay, yeah, I understand why that you think of it that way.
We made some progress.
I do blame Dependable. Yeah, I'm not happy with him.
No.
His code is annoying,
Okay.
but we'll figure it out.
All right. Well,
All right, Travis,
we'll see him.
we'll see you tonight.
Yay!
It's exciting. I'm very happy. See you later. Bye.